Yeah, I think I mean, you bring a solid point to the table, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, right? I mean, obviously,
Sure.
you're saying you want to listen to the market, right? And not to say you're following trends, but you're listening to the market versus listening to your vision 100%. But I think the average person, they're gonna go after the trends and not really listen to the market. And I want people to understand there's a difference between those two. So I want you to kind of talk about that to kind of clarify that a little bit.
Trends are an extrapolation. Trends are what has happened in the past, analyzed today with an extrapolation of what we think it will then do. Market data is what is happening today, right now, in the market, looking into the future and saying, this is going to continue with a little bit of predictive analysis. And so they're not so disconnected, right? Because the trends lead to market data.
Hmm.
So, for example, just to give you a sense, December 26th last year was one of the first times, I think the first time, the only time in 20 years that I've seen CPMs, cost per thousand impressions, rise after Christmas.
Hmm.
How the F is that possible, right? Well, turns out we're not operating in a true market environment with iOS 14 and people escaping from Facebook and going into TikTok and Snap and all these other platforms for diversifying media. They still have earnings and reports to hit, et cetera. So all these different reasons in there. So that is a market point that I'm looking at. The market telling me, okay, CPMS are not going down, right? The trend is that they're continuing to rise. Now I'm listening to the market and say, if trends continue to rise, if this continues, what are going to be the pains of our customers? And then you start to stratify your customer pains. You have SMBs, you have medium size, and then you have enterprise, right? And when you look at that pyramid, they have different pain points all along the way. Your small, medium sized businesses at the bottom are going to have a very hard time getting a single channel and in-platform reporting to work. And so their pains are they're going to need to go back to days of old, full stack marketing, owned audiences, owned data, multiple touch points, their own dashboards and reporting, right? Versus you go up into enterprise, these guys actually were able to weather the storm a lot better than the small brands because they're in the market, right? But their pains have now also changed, which is it costs them more to acquire a customer than it did previously, which means that the pricing model as an agency that you work with them is probably going to become untenable over time unless you take a look at how you're pricing, how you look at it. Maybe you're in performance goals. And so to go back to what is a trend versus what is the market, trends lead into market data, into listening to the market. The market is Tesla laid off 10% of its employees and they're not hiring anymore. The market is almost overnight salaries rose 20 or 30% for most people on the market. And you have a great recession and people moving around, right? The market is lots of little data points, some big, some small, that with lots of trends feeding into it. And then how is it impacting and affecting your specific business? And then there's a gut check of being like, okay, I know this business. What do I think is going to happen? What have I seen in the past? In my world, it's like, oh, this dates me. Can spam compliance rolls out, right? Oh no, email marketing is a dead channel. Well, is it? Did it? No, it's just changed, right, over time. And so when you look at the trend analysis over time, you can start to see some patterns, and then you have to take an analysis of what's happening in the market around you to extrapolate and say, how do we adapt?
Hmm. Very cool. Very
No
cool.
exact answer.